Okay, I have a bunch of little dangling things to do, like 10 things to do. And if those get done, I will be continuing not where we left off with Beej's network stuff, because I'm a few chapters further than I was when I last streamed. Uh, so maybe I'll show you guys the server. We had to write like a word server, which is I think where we left last one. I did that already, so I'll show you what I did. And then there were chapters on TCP, UDP, and we're at the start of a chapter which will involve writing writing a TCP checksum, which is the same checksum algorithm as UDP, or can be, I think, or it was when it was first invented or whatever. But first, I have just a bunch of like little errands basically to do. So the first thing I have to do is send my coach the clips from this week's powerlifting stuff. Except as of today, that isn't done by just like sending them all. Maybe I should do this. Upper. And then upper, man. No, dude, this can't happen. I'm sorry. You gotta lie down, leave me alone. So yeah, start with that. Sending my coach the clips. So there's an email about it too. Starting June 1st. Please upload their training videos directly into the app. Oh, June 1st is in the future, which means I can send her the clips right now. Monday. Maybe I'll just send fewer clips this week. Honestly, it's kind of crazy that I send her like everything. Uh, da 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 da. Not those. Not my cat. Send. I already edited them down. Cool. And I had already sent her some of the squat stuff from early in the week. So as of June 1st, so they're sending. That'll take like an hour. I'll be reviewing videos daily. Top set. Three by 7 at RP8, but the set felt easier or harder than that. Please update the RP. Okay. Okay. Check-ins will now be available every Saturday so you can compete. So that's good. So that's sending. Why do I have to? I don't understand. Settings. What the fuck, man? Why is WhatsApp downloading photos, videos I send someone via iPhone Photos app? Your iPhone is doing this because of a default WhatsApp setting called Save to Photos is turned on. When you send a photo or video to someone, WhatsApp automatically saves a copy of that outgoing media directly to your phone's camera roll. You should blow yourself up immediately. Fuck that. So, okay, WhatsApp. Settings. WhatsApp. My front camera, light background. Photos has full access. What the fuck? I'm so triggered right now, man. Like actually. Manage storage. Chats. Auto. Save to photos isn't even on. Fucking can't. Oh my god. Shut. because the iPhone's downloading like some local files in the process of it. That's so obnoxious. Like, I fucking can't stand. Well, I'm gonna just fucking delete a bunch of shit. Albums, library, on this device, recents. Can I've I can't believe this. Juds. I'm deleting all the videos I have of me recording basketball games, which I used to do like a few years ago. I'd shoot footage for overtime. But that means I have like a few hundred videos of dudes playing basketball. Just right on my phone. So these are all backed up in my image server anyways. So aggravating though. Here, I'll delete these from device. Delete for all participants. Deleted 358 deleted locally. So if I go to my Photos app here and I go to my trash, recently deleted. There we go, yeah. There's 300 items in here. Delete all. No photos or videos. Did it actually just delete 360 videos immediately, or is this some optimistic UI? I wonder. Anywho, let's try sending these videos again. Everybody hit the sea line. Okay. 25 videos selected. Send my coach. If this doesn't work this time, I'm crashing out. Oh. Now so I have my server. Then I've got this fucking external hard drive from Western Digital, but it only has USB A, I believe. And of course my computer doesn't have a USB port. So I need a dongle. Right. So those are sending, and then I have to update the physio guy on how that's going, and then book some appointments for that. For that. In the meantime, as this is saying preparing for whatever reason, I'm gonna rip my French cue cards.
Le
Foot. Le boulot.
Les. Assis. Arrête.
Déjà. Sec. La terre.
La terre.
Le but. Oh, le coup. Suivre, c'est to follow. Loin. Venir. Nouveau.
La fin.
La fin.
Le sang.
Le
Temps.
croire. Sous. Contre.
Gros. Le.
On. Rather or instead? Au lieu.
Plutôt.
Oh, plutôt. Le moi. Vous. Jouer. Aider. Large, great, big.
Le but. Et.
Completely. Toi. Yeah. Trouver. Work or job. Le boulot.
Le travail.
Le travail. Prêt.
Prêt. Ne. La. Celui.
Lumière.
La
Light.
lumière.
Le cas.
Demain. Or. Le frein. Possible. Le haut. L'arrêt. Le jeu. Le dîner. Les dîners. Demain. Le de. Bon. Reste. L'école. Qui. L'heure. Beau. La vie. Le père. Appeler. Le doux. Le. Plutôt.
Okay. That's French. French done. I did my check-in. I weighed 238.1 this morning. I felt motivated to train. My focus was high. How many hours of sleep? I felt great. Yes. Most days. Met my goal. Injury flare up. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 4. NA. Okay. And then tell my coach about everything going on. Okay. How you been feeling? Reply. improve a little bit. The rehab exercises are getting a bit easier. I still get random spikes in the pain, stiffness from walking, from random things like getting booking another RMT session. Okay, so that's Ian replied to. Before I play next week, can you fill out this when you have time? This will help me decide what we can progress, what should stay the same. What current symptoms? Pain at rest from 0 out of 10. Pain walking 0 to 10. Pain at rest. Right now it's like a 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Pain walking is 2 out of 10 to like 4 out of 10, depending on the walk, the day. Pain walking barefoot from 0 to 10. Pain walking barefoot is less than in shoes or slides. Compared to however painful those would be on those days. Does that make sense? Better, worse, or same compared to the start of this week? Probably same as of today, but a few days this week were better than last week. Again, something about the long drive / standing around yesterday at a family thing / sleeping weird made it pretty sore comparatively this weekend. Okay. Any numbness, tingling, pins and needles, burning, swelling, redness, warmth, or bruising. There is some pain and tenderness and redness in the same spot, bottom of Achilles / soleus area. Don't fucking correct my words. I know how to spell. Soleus, not soles. Ah! Achilles soleus area. Does 5 to 10 minutes of easy walking make it better, worse, or the same? 5 to 10 minutes of easy walking often makes it a bit better, I'd say. Alright, midfoot / ankle control. When you bend your knees, do you still lose midfoot pressure? I lose midfoot pressure but it's later in the knee bend than it has been since hurting it. If yes, when does it happen? Around parallel. Happens for sure around / past parallel. When barefoot, a bit sooner in my shoes. Okay. Does focusing on big toe / forefoot pressure help, hurt, or feel neutral? Does it feel painful, awkward, weak, or unstable? Big toe. Helps with a bit of practice. First rep or two, it's awkward. Rehab exercises. How do the ankle dorsiflexion, big toe extension, and floating heel split squats feel this week? The ankle dorsiflexion and big toe exercises are feeling the strongest. They have probably equal performance between feet on those now. And the floating heel ones are a bit behind those, but are feeling okay and progressing. Did any rehab exercise make symptoms worse later that day or the next morning? Rehab didn't noticeably worsen my feet this week. Which rehab exercise feel most useful? Dorsiflexion one feels most useful, especially for warming up my ankle before benching. Training response. How did box squats feel this week? Box squats felt more controlled and less disheartening than last week. That's for sure. Pain during box squats. Pain was not really the issue so much as awkwardness and lack of control. How did box squats make symptoms? Were you able to keep midfoot pressure during box squats? I was able to keep midfoot pressure on the second plus reps of each set. First rep being kind of calibrating sort of thing. They didn't worsen symptoms. This is taking a while. How did Florida... Okay, yeah. Floor deadlifts were probably just a bit too much, at least on that day. I had pulled off 2 plates before that, and those felt great. But off the floor was less coordinated / stable in the right ankle, and I had less tension in the right leg as a whole, it felt. The second deadlift session, I used 1 plate as a box instead, and those were less painful and more stable than the floor ones, which were definitely borderline painful. Okay. Pain during floor deadlifts from 0 to 10. How did block pulls feel compared to floor deadlifts? Pain during block pulls floor pain on worst rep, probably 3 or 4. Box, parentheses, 1 plate. Basically painless. And then, did either deadlift variation make symptoms worse later that day or the next morning? Holy shit. This is such a long questionnaire. That's why you pay for coaching. Did either deadlift variation make symptoms worse later that day? Floor deads might have worsened the pain that day and afterwards. But just marginally. Might have been like psychic pain from not being strong. Okay, for next week, which feels like the better main pull? Floor deadlift, block pull. I should probably stick to block pulls next week. Bench response. How did competition bench feel this week? Pain during normal bench setup from 0 to 10. How did the modified foot position or feet up bench setup help? Did bench make the soleus foot? Oh my Jesus. I'm going to copy paste this and email it to myself and copy. A long ass message. I should just type this up to start out with. Email myself. Paste. Send. Bench response. Notes. Okay, so how to comp bench. Okay. Comp bench felt really good again this week. Even with benching every day and the 2nd to 4th sessions being 3 days in a row, despite a bit of fatigue starting each of those days, by the first couple warm-ups slash bench was feeling powerful and controlled. Pain during normal bench setup. Pain during normal bench setup is a sort of 3 out of 10 if I do my normal feet out kind of thing. But if I feel out a wider foot position with my heels a little closer in, this pain is negligible. Did the modified foot position on feet up bench setup help? The modified feet up bench setup was night and day. Those felt super fast. And I wasn't falling off the bench like I was the first time I tried them. Did bench make the soleus foot symptoms worse later that day or in the next? Did bench make the soleus or foot symptoms? I didn't notice worse foot pain due to benching. For the rest of that day at all. Does bench feel strong enough to progress? Bench is definitely feeling strong enough to progress next week. I do think that on the day, I do think that I felt a little worried about the volume when I looked each day at the plan, but sitting here end of week, it's easier to say it was easy peasy. Where whatever you think here, because my intuition is that I am in a really good spot to keep pushing bench. Does bench feel strong enough? Any shoulder, elbow, pec, or wrist issues? Elbow and shoulders can feel a little weak by the end of the sessions, but that's because I've been almost entirely wrapless for the past couple weeks, just to beef up my wrists a bit. I notice a wicked forearm pump when I bench these days. Shoulders feeling pretty good too. I had some pec tightness on the last day of this week for sure, but it kind of went away as I warmed up. Right. Recovery treatment schedule. Which exercise caused the biggest symptoms response this week? Floor deads caused the biggest symptoms response this week because I was not listening to my body enough on the day. I was pushing it just the tiniest bit. No damage done, I think. But I was smarter on the second pull day for sure. Did symptoms return to baseline within 24 hours after each session? Symptoms returned to baseline within 24 hours after each session. Yeah. Did you get RMT/physio? If yes, what did they work on? I didn't get RMT or physio. I am booking it today. RMT. I've maxed my benefits, so any restrictions or exercises from them that we need to account for? No, any schedule or equipment limitations. I am moving back to my good life for the whole month because I can't really justify paying for the powerlifting gym right now, but I am likely to return to that. Do you feel ready to repeat the same lower body exposure? Progress slightly, pull back, keep bench deadlift moving, but keep squat conservative. Overall, do you feel ready to? Overall, I feel ready to repeat the same lower dash body exposure. I could probably do a few more sets of box squats or do a heel up down on a plate, or do a few more sets of box squats, or start loading, or use kettlebells or something. Progress slightly, pull back. I will say my ability to do that many sets of neutral grip pull downs is lacking. The first session, which was also the Dead's Day, took a lot of my grip slash lats. Lap strength from the next ones. I could maybe try pronated one instead of one of the secondary neutral ones. Buys too. I think we keep working the bench. Okay. Copy that. Reply to myself with this. Oh my god. Copy. And paste. Alright. Wow, that took a really long time. I am not making a YouTube video for that shit. At least right now. Alright. Send powerlifting clips plus survey. Done. Okay, now to do my double entry bookkeeping. RBC. So 1908. What? Damn it. What? Okay, so today I do today. Groceries. No. Assets checking. Oh. I see. I just haven't added this stuff. And each ledger add. Burgers with Jack. Access checking minus expenses. Okay. Okay. Wait, calculator. Minus 80. 1908, 17. Alright. Now what is that? Oh, right. Bought sups at Blue Star. Assets checking minus. Like it's hard to remember what you buy the one day ago. Now we check each ledger. Yes, the ledger is now correct. Kick up to end of day May 31st. It's the end of the month. It's the end of the month. I did my meal prep. Already. That's my ledger. I vacuumed the couch. I made. Well, I didn't make chicken curry. Okay, it's canceled. I'm gonna book an appointment. At Thrive Wellness. Book an appointment. Where is this lady? Massage therapy. June. Surely. You've just booked the following appointment. June 4th, 2026. Alright, I'm going to wrap this stream up after this next part. So I've done all my stuff. I can do that I have to do. I should do my laundry. Alright, let's stream this TCP checksum situation. So I think I'll no, it's not Beej's guide to C. Beej's guide to network programming. Beej's guide to network concepts. HTML. Parsing packets. Project the words. So I guess we'll go from here. So there's, I go here. Can you guys see? Here. I go here. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Oh boy. So the word server. So this project was pretty straightforward. They gave us word server, which is already done, and then we have to write the client. So the server maybe I should be streaming off of this computer. Low-key. I guess it's just for my sake to recall things. So yeah, you're not to change anything in the word server. And what it does is it Python 3. So what the client's supposed to do, you're supposed to specify an address and a port. And what it does is it asks this server for some words. And what the client, like the point of this task is to have the client get these words, and you're supposed to do some work with that so that you're able to print them out as strings into the console. So yeah, there's two functions. I'm just pulling up the client here. Word client. So there's two functions, get next word packet and extract word, that you have to implement. So the main method of this client, you're doing a try catch thing here to get that address and the host, or the address and the port from the command line when the client program is called. You instantiate a socket and you call the connect method on that socket, passing in the tuple with the address and the port. And so while true, what we're doing is we're getting the packet that the server is written to reply with. And I guess before I so what that entails here is this word packet is calling this get next word packets or get next word packet function that you have to implement as part of this task. But before we do that, to summarize what the server does, so in this word server.py file, actually I'll download it. We can look at it. You've got just an array of words here, and how many bytes is the word length? 2. So what this means, each of these, we're going to be sending these words to the client, but they're going to be prefixed with the size of those words in bytes. And here you specify how big those delimiters are for those prefixes. And like how, if this were 3, each word would be prefixed with 3 bytes. Ignore this use. This is so the user knows how to call the function if they how to call the program if they don't do it properly to run the program. So calls main try. So the port. Yeah. Anyways, so you run the server. Spin up a socket. You're listening to an address and a port, and while true, you are you like we do with these when we're doing TCP client server stuff, is you have to spin up a second socket after the client. So the client sends something to the server spins up a second socket that talks to the client on instead of using the same, so that you can use that remaining socket to listen for other connections. And so you parse out, so you got this new socket and the connection info. So this is the address and the IP address and port of the client. And you just say, oh yeah, I got a connection from that address and IP address. So now wordless is send words. You call send words, and you pass it a socket as an input. Send words, so it takes a socket as an input. Word count is a random number between 1 and 10. The word packet and word list is, so you build the word packet by passing in this word count we've just randomly generated, and you're sending the word packet using the send all function on the socket that we just passed it. What this build word packet does up here, given a word count, you've got this byte string that we're going to build up over time in an array of words. And for some random thing you're not actually going to end up using, not random, sorry, for some, this might as well be I in range, just you're never using I, so use the underscore. So for whatever in range of this word count, you choose that many words, you encode, or you choose, sorry, no, you choose a random word, and from this list of words, or the array of words at the top, you encode it. So that word in bytes is just word.encode, and then the length is the length of this encoded word, and the bytes to represent the length of that word are this length of the word in bytes, and we're doing that in big endian like notation, so the biggest byte is at the front, and then you just append this length and the word, so the length in bytes and the word in bytes, you append that to this packet we're building, and word list.append, and you append the ongoing non byte form sort of list we're keeping track of with that word as well, and you return the word packet and the list of words. So that send words new s, send words takes word packet, word list, build word packet, word count, send all word packet, and you return word list, and we print the word list, but we send the bytes. So that's the server. So this is what the client is going to get, right? Is you've got 2 bytes that are the length of the word, and then you have the word in bytes. So it's actually gonna, this is what the actual message is. It's like here. But we're not just asking for 1 word at a time, not necessarily. The server, right, it's doing 1 to 10 words. So you might, in this example, if you have hi followed by encyclopedia, so hi is 2 bytes long, so you got 0002 and then 68 and 69 for hi. And then encyclopedia, which is 12 bytes long, which is 000C in hex, right? And then the hex, and then 12 bytes, 1 for each letter. So back to the client, right? We call main. You got a socket. You connect using the address and the port. While true, word packet. Get next word packet. So this get next word packet returns the next word packet from the stream. The word packet consists of the encoded word length followed by the UTF-8 encoded word, like we see here. Returns none if there are no more words. The server is hung up. So we're going to use a buffer here. This is how we're handling. Accepting, like, we don't know exactly what the server is going to give, so we use it, right? We're not asking the server, give me 1 word. There's not this like implicit understanding that the client can only ever ask for 1 word and the server only services 1 word. So you've got this global packet buffer, and it's global. So that just means inside a loop we can edit this value outside of the loop, right? So at the top of the file is a byte string called packet buffer, and from within this function get next word packet we call global packet buffer, so that we can edit the value of this byte string from within a function and have those values persist after the function's called and after the function executes. So while true, data s.receive. S.receive. If I'm trying to, my second solution here is a little more complex, but it's like better. So I guess I'll just, whatever. So you receive the data, and if the length of that data, but because you receive that data using the receive method from the socket library, and you give that how many bytes you're receiving at a time. This project specifically says you should be able to your code should work with any positive value passed to receive between 1 and 4096. So if you can write this function, or that you can write this project, if you receive 4096 bytes, that's going to be big enough to receive whatever the server could send. Like if it sends 10 big words, that's only going to be 120 bytes plus prefix by 10 by 2, like, so it'll be 20 plus 10 times 20, so 220 bytes. So if you use 496, you know that when you call receive, you're getting the entire packet in one receive call. And that, you can solve that very differently, right? That becomes not like a regex thing or whatever. Like you know, because of the way you've written it, sort of sloppily, because you know the server's only going to send like so much shit ever, because it's capped at 10 random words. But like, you could get the whole packet in one call, and you could match on like try and splice out the prefixes and the words, knowing kind of where they'll be because you have it all there. But that's sloppy, and this specifically says it should work between 1. So this should work even if you only ask for 1 byte at a time. So that's not even the whole prefix length thing. Like you could just receive 00, and this function, the program needs to work. So you receive 1 byte. If the length of data equals 0 and the length of the packet buffer, this buffer we're building over time, is equals 0, we return none. We're done because the stream's closed. We're not asking for anything. Like the server hasn't sent anything. But otherwise, so you've got this data, you've received 1 byte, you're storing it in data, you append that to the packet buffer byte string. So now our byte string, which was just empty quotes, is now whatever, empty quotes with 0, 0, say. Packet buffer. So size. Size is the packet buffer from the start of the buffer to word length size, which is this constant at the top of the file 2. This is the same constant that's in the other file. Which, how many bytes is the word length? How many bytes? So we know the word length is 2. We know each word will be prefixed by 2 bytes, which describe its length. So the size is the packet buffer from 0 to 2, in this case. From the packet buffer at indices 0 to 2. If the length of size is less than 2, we continue. So we ask for 1 byte. We know the size of the word. Even if it's only 1 word, we know that word will be prefixed by 2 bytes describing its length. So if you receive 1 byte, and this is the first time you're running this loop, then your buffer's empty. You've appended, say, 0, 0 to that buffer. And the length, you can't, and now you're saying the size of this word you're expecting is the value stored in the packet buffer from indices 0 to 2. If this is your first time running through this loop, that's actually 1 byte is in there. The length of that is 1, which means we just continue to the next loop. We receive a 2nd byte. We add it to the buffer, right? Now we're checking the same thing. Size is the values stored in the packet buffer from 0 to 2. Now the length of that size isn't less than 2, which means we can continue. We're not breaking out of the loop this time. We're going through the rest of the loop, in which case we're doing the word length is just we cast those 2 bytes to an integer. So from int.from bytes size in big endian, because we know the server encoded its string prefixes with big endian bytes in byte encodings. So if the length of the packet buffer is less than the word length size plus this word length, again we just break out of the loop and continue. So now let's say this is the furthest we've been down this loop because it's on our 2nd loop, but the length of the packet buffer is not less than 2 plus the length described in this word length prefix. So it's our 2nd time through this loop. Our global packet buffer currently holds 0005, and we're checking if the length of the packet buffer is equal to the size parts, which is 0005, plus the word length, which is the decoded part number actually stored here. So that would be 0005 plus 5. So this is just saying unless the packet buffer actually has all the things we expect, we just need to keep asking for bytes. Again, you can see why if you ask for 4096 bytes right away, you wouldn't have to do any of these checks. But that's just not proper so we're taking 1 byte in at a time. So yeah, you went through the 2nd loop, and you're actually going to break out of this condition 5 times until the packet buffer contains 0005 all the way to 6F, which is, so the packet buffer contains 0005 and that it expects to have 5 other bytes in it, and it does now, which means the word bytes is the packet buffer from here to here, right? But programmatically, I guess, right? That the word bytes is packet buffer from. So you slice on word length size to the end of the string. So word length size we know is 2, so we slice, like remember the packet buffer has all these things right now, but we slice from 2 onwards. So we just take this. But then we slice that on. But keep in mind, this is our first time through this first string. But if we had a bunch of stuff, like hi encyclopedia, we had some extra stuff in there. How do we know where to stop slicing? Because it's the next word and therefore the next word's prefix. Well, so we just sliced from 2 to the end of the string, which happens to be here. But let's say we're in this bottom example actually. So we slice from 2 to the rest of the string. So we're currently holding on to all 3 of these. Yeah, sorry, not all 3. This whole string. But then you slice that from the start of that to the word length. We know word length is in this case 02. So we just slice that from the start of that, so right here, to 2. So we take that. That's your word. Boom. That word bytes is that, and this is already in bytes because the server sent. So now word bytes is holding on 6869. And now we have to clean up the buffer now. We have to pop that from the buffer and return that because this whole function is getting the next word packet, and we've got it. We don't want to get rid of this other stuff in the packet, in the buffer. This whole next word, this is another packet, its length, plus the word is in the buffer, but we have this whole word for sure, hi. So we clean up the packet buffer in place. We say packet buffer equals packet buffer add index word length plus word size onwards. So word length in this case, right? We've just found this word hi, and that's stored in word bytes right now. We're cleaning up this whole packet buffer. So we're doing packet buffer equals, so packet buffer right now is all this. We say packet buffer equals that add index word length plus word size. So word length we know is 2, and the word length size is 2. So we're now packet buffer is equal to packet buffer from index 4 onwards. So here we've popped this whole packet from the buffer, and we're returning the word length and the word bytes 020, 0002 and 6869. So now we're back in the main function where we did word packets get next word packets. If word packets none, you break. So if that method didn't return anything, it's because it didn't. Remember, the server's dead, or the server's not sending any more packets. So if that's the case, you break out of this loop because you have everything. But word, otherwise, is extract word on this word packet we've just returned. So we've just returned 0002 6869, right? We're passing that whole thing as one packet into the extract word function, which is basically a one-liner where we're extracting a word from a word packet because it's encoded word length followed by the UTF-8 word. So we just need that UTF-8 word and decode it. So word bytes is the word packet and index 1. So because it was an array with 0002 and 6869, so we take the second array in that, which is 6869, and we decode by the UTF-8 standard, which is what these are encoded in the first place, and we return those bytes. So, and then you just print it. Or no, you're not returning as bytes, you're returning as a string. You just decoded it. You print, and that now this word variable in main is holding on to that print. That's what the function or the assignment is. And then you close your socket. That's it. So yeah, in practice, this just looks like when you run your client, you give it an address. Like you can just pass in empty quotes to run on localhost, which is where the server is running, and you give it a port number, and it just says getting words. And I'm just looking at a list of words here, but that's a list of words that was sent to this client as a stream of packets in UTF-8 encoding that are prefixed by their lengths. And I'm looking at nice human readable string. It's pretty cool. And then chapters 14 and 15 were TCP and UDP. Might have to actually get into this at a later time because I created notes for UDP, but I want to kind of like transcribe some notes from this TCP chapter. So maybe we'll do that next stream. I'll do TCP, UDP, and we'll start the validating a TCP packet thing checksum. So thank you for watching, y'all. I would do more, but I'm just so pooped and I have other shit to do. So take it easy. See you.